Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Tanvi Taneja and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with Chief Ministers of 10 states on Corona situation in high case load states. Says working together, India can win the fight against COVID. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 70%. A record number of 15 crore people have downloaded the Arogya Setu app. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Prakash Javadekar released the third series of collection of speeches by Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. And flood situation in Bihar continues to be grim. Over 75 lakh people in 16 districts affected. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic are proving effective as the percentage of active COVID cases has decreased and recovery rate has increased. Giving closing remarks this afternoon in his interaction with the Chief Ministers of 10 states through video conferencing, Mr. Modi said the most important thing is that people's confidence has also increased and the fear has gone down. He said the states learnt a lot from each other's experiences through today's interaction. Mr. Modi stressed on the need to increase testing in states where testing rate is low and positivity rate is high, particularly in Bihar, Gujarat, UP, West Bengal and Telangana. The Prime Minister said contact tracing, containment and surveillance are the most effective weapons against COVID-19. He said experts are now saying that if cases are identified within 72 hours of onset, infection slows down to a great extent. He said that besides the testing network, Arogya Setu app also helps in contact tracing, containment and surveillance. He interacted with Chief Ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Punjab, Bihar, Gujarat, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh and was apprised of the COVID-19 situation in these respective states. The Health Ministry said COVID-19 cases dipped below 55,000 in a single day today after the country was recording over 60,000 cases daily for 4 days on the trot. The recovery rate is 69.8%. The case fatality rate also dropped below 2% and was recorded at 1.99%. A report.
Health Ministry informed that active COVID-19 cases in the country stands at 6,39,929, while 15,83,489 people have recovered. Single-day spike of 53,601 COVID-19 cases have pushed India's virus case load to 22,68,675. Death toll due to COVID-19 has reached 45,257. Indian Council of Medical Research said yesterday, a total of 2,52,81,848 samples have been tested. Yesterday, 6,98,290 samples were tested. Anupam Mishra, AI News, Delhi.
Arogya Setu, the app developed to track and trace COVID-19 situation in the country, has recorded 15 crore downloads till date. Due to its huge support from the people, the Arogya Setu app becomes the most downloaded COVID-19 contact tracing app across the world. The government-promoted app has managed to achieve the feat in 3 months from its launch. A sensor tower report shows Arogya Setu has the most installations till date, followed by Turkey's Pandemic Isolation Tracking Project and Germany's Corona Warn app. The download numbers comprise figures from Google Play Store and the App Store.
The Health Ministry today said that the Expert Committee on Vaccine Administration under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul will meet tomorrow to consider logistics and ethical aspects of procurement and administration of COVID-19 vaccine. The committee will engage with all the stakeholders, including state governments and vaccine manufacturers. In Bihar, 21 deaths due to COVID-19 were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 450. This is the highest number of deaths due to COVID-19 in a single day. Maximum of 88 deaths were reported from Patna. With 3,021 fresh positive cases, the tally has reached 82,741. However, 54,139 patients have recovered so far and 28,151 patients are undergoing treatment. Recovery rate is over 65%. During the past 24 hours, 75,346 tests were conducted. With this, total over 11 lakh tests had been conducted in Bihar. Meanwhile, the state government has kicked off a random testing drive for auto rickshaw drivers, vegetable and fruit sellers.
In Assam, 2,900 positive cases are reported in the state during the last 24 hours. Health Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma informed that 382 cases were reported in Kamrup Metro District. He said that over 60,000 tests were conducted in the state in the past 24 hours and the positivity rate was reported to be 4.79%. There are 19,258 active cases in the state. 151 persons succumbed to COVID-19 in the state. A plasma donation camp was held at Guwahati Medical College and Hospital yesterday for health workers. The recovered doctors and health workers donated their plasma in the camp. Mizoram detects 3 more COVID-19 positive cases today, taking the tally to 623 with 300 patients recovering in the state. So far, 323 patients have been discharged after recovery from infections, while 300 patients are undergoing treatment.
In Rajasthan, more than 1,100 people have been tested positive every day for the last 12 days. 54,290 people have been infected so far in the state, out of which 39,273 people have recovered. 810 people have died due to COVID so far in the state.
Maximum 8,093 cases of COVID infection have been reported from Jodhpur. Jaipur is at second number with more than 6,600 positive cases. Alwar, Pali, Kota and Bharatpur districts have also been badly affected due to the infection. 620 corona cases have been reported in the state this morning. On the political front, after political development in the state, the BJP has postponed the meeting of legislature party to be held today. On the other hand, 3 independent MLAs who are supporting to former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot met Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot today in Jaipur. Other supporter MLAs of Mr. Pilot are also expected to return Jaipur from Delhi by this evening. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Gujarat government's decision to hike the fine for not wearing a mask to ₹1,000 has been implemented from today. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has also launched a special drive for strict implementation of rules to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Last month, in its order, Gujarat High Court had asked the state government to collect a minimum fine of ₹1,000 from those found without a mask in public. The High Court order came in the wake of rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in the state. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has also launched the special drives for implementation of rules like wearing a mask and social distancing in the public places. After sealing 2 malls last week for violation of social distancing, the AMC authorities have sealed 3 restaurants and hotels yesterday for violating safety rules against COVID-19. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Karnataka has revised its guidelines for home isolation of COVID-positive patients. According to the new rules, an impaneled agency will conduct a telephonic triage of the patient. A team of health workers will visit the patient and conduct the triage. Alternatively, an external agency will conduct a telephonic triage. The home isolated patient can be discharged after 10 days and undergo an additional 7 days of home isolation after this. Meanwhile, after 9 days at the hospital, Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa was discharged after he tested negative for COVID-19 yesterday. He will remain under home quarantine for a couple of days before resuming official work in full swing. Leader of Opposition Siddaramaiah is stable and is undergoing treatment in a private hospital. Health Minister B. Sriramulu is also undergoing treatment in a government hospital. More from our correspondent.
The COVID-19 recovery rate in Karnataka is gradually improving by the day. From a dismal 38% last month, the recovery rate has today climbed to 54.4%. The average compounded daily growth rate showed a slight decline, climbing down from 4.1 to 3.8%. Similarly, the doubling rate has improved from 7 days last month to 17 days now. Similarly, fatality rate has come down from 2.1% to 1.8% now. The asymptomatic COVID patients are 83% and 17% are symptomatic. In Bengaluru, the positivity rate has come down from 24.15% last month to 17.92% now. BBMP, the Bangalore City Corporation, has increased free COVID test in the city. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Indian hockey team forward Mandeep Singh, who was confirmed COVID-19 positive yesterday, has been shifted to a private hospital in Bengaluru after his blood oxygen level dropped below normal. In a statement issued by the Sports Authority of India today, it is said that Mandeep Singh is moving from mild to moderate severity of COVID infection and his condition is currently stable. The remaining 5 hockey players, including Captain Manpreet Singh, who are COVID positive, are being monitored constantly and their vitals checked 4 times every day. They are in isolation at the National Centre of Excellence in Bengaluru.
A surge has been seen in the number of COVID-19 cases in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. A total of 403 cases were reported in the islands during the last 3 days. Meanwhile, 284 patients recovered as well. The recovery rate dipped to 43.6%, while 20 deaths were reported so far. 12 cases have been reported in the tribal district of Nicobar. Acting upon the situation, the 14 days home quarantine becomes mandatory for all passengers coming to Nicobar. RT-PCR test will also be conducted prior to the journey to tribal areas. It is to mention that most of the cases reported during the last few days are among contacts. Administration is monitoring the circumstances and making suitable decisions. Earlier, a weekly lockdown was imposed, but now the current lockdown has been extended to 1 more week. However, essential services will go on. All the religious places will remain closed for the general public. The daily convoy passing through the reserve area of Jarwas has also been stopped. Flight services between mainland and Port Blair has reduced earlier as well. Now only 5 flights are available in a week. All incoming passengers will be tested and have to go for institutional quarantine for 7 days. In Maharashtra, the Phase 2 clinical trial of the indigenously developed co-vaccine for COVID-19 began in Nagpur today. Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech has developed this vaccine for coronavirus. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
The Nagpur-based Gillurkar Hospital has started the second round of trial of indigenously made Covaxin. 55 volunteers had undergone clinical trial in the first phase a few days ago. None of them had reported any kind of complication after they were given the first shots of the vaccine. Director of Gillurkar Hospital, Chandrasekhar Gillurkar, said that those volunteers who were given first dose of the vaccine, their blood samples will be collected and sent to examine the antibodies present in them. Subsequently, the vaccine trial will be done after a gap of 28 days, 42 days, 104 days and 194 days. After each dose, the blood samples will be collected to check the growth in antibodies. With Kunal Shinde, Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said that about 10,500 health and wellness centers are to be built in Madhya Pradesh, out of which 2,986 centers have been constructed so far. Dr. Harshvardhan was addressing a session on health yesterday at the webinar series organized to prepare a draft for self-reliant Madhya Pradesh.
About 1 crore people have benefited from health and wellness centers in the state. In addition to treatment in these centers, training is also being given to maintain good health through yoga, pranayam and other methods. Dr. Harshvardhan lauded the sick newborn care unit being operated in hospitals for good care of newborn in the state. Dr. Harshvardhan said that good work is being done in Madhya Pradesh to fulfill the goal of eradication of TB disease. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has said that universal health coverage will provide good health facility to every person and universal immunization will soon meet the target of vaccination of every child in Madhya Pradesh. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Amarchand Bajaj, Senior Consultant at the Sitaram Bhartiya Institute of Science and Research in New Delhi, highlighted the importance of hygiene and how to maintain it to contain novel coronavirus.
जब तक हमारे पास इनकी ट्रीटमेंट वैक्सीन या मेडिसिन के रूप में ना निकले तब तक हमें जो प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स है वो फॉलो करने हैं। जहां जरूरत ना हो उसमें घर से बिल्कुल बाहर ना निकले, कोशिश करें कम से कम बाहर निकलना है। और जबकि निकलना भी पड़ा घर से बाहर तो कोशिश करें कि जहां आप 2 लोग खड़े हैं करीब 2 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें, नहीं तो कम से कम 1 मीटर दूर खड़े रहें।
Dr. Naresh Gupta of Loknayak Jayaprakash Narayan Hospital in Delhi said in most of the cases the COVID-19 infections are self-limiting and very few patients are required to take admission in hospital.
80% में तो ऐसी भी तकलीफ नहीं करते हैं या इतनी हल्की करते हैं कि लोग घर पे ही ठीक हो जाते हैं। 10-15% में उनको अस्पताल जाके कुछ दवाई दी जाती है और वो सेटल हो जाते हैं। 5% या उससे कम वाले हैं जो कि दाखिल होना पड़ता है।
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program today will bring a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. Mohsin Wali, Senior Consultant, Sir Gangaram Hospital, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1-800-11-5767. I repeat, 1-800-11-5767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444. I repeat, 011-2331-4444, and post queries on a Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on the FM Gold channel and edition frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. Amid continued increase in coronavirus cases in Bangladesh, the government has ramped up efforts to enforce health regulations among the people to contain further spread of the virus. The government has asked the local administration to conduct mobile court operations so that fines could be imposed on people not following instructions on wearing masks in the public. According to the latest figures released by the Directorate General of Health Services, DGHS, yesterday, Bangladesh has reported 3,438 deaths and over 2.6 lakh coronavirus cases since the first corona-positive case was detected in Bangladesh on March 8th. More than 1.5 lakh people have recovered in this period, which indicates a recovery rate of 57.75%.
Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom, has impressed upon the need to put in concerted efforts to check the spread of coronavirus pandemic. Detailing about the essential elements to address the COVID-19 pandemic effectively, Dr. Tedros said,
there are two essential elements to addressing the pandemic effectively. Leaders must step up to take action, and citizens need to embrace new measures. If we suppress the virus effectively, we can safely open up societies.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews Corona situation with Chief Ministers of 10 states, says working together India can win the fight against COVID. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 70%. A record number of 15 crore people have downloaded Arogya Setu app. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Prakash Javadekar released the third series of collection of speeches by Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. Flood situation in Bihar continues to be grim. Over 75 lakh people in 16 districts affected. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has completed 3 years in office today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar released the book titled Connecting, Communicating, Changing in New Delhi on the occasion. The book chronicles Mr. Naidu's 3 years in office as the Vice President of India. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Naidu said today's release of the publication is the third in the series on his efforts and outcomes as the Vice President and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He said that before COVID-19 pandemic, he had about 20 public engagements per month.
My target groups have been the farmers, who are my first love, the youth, including the students, who are the future of our nation, the scientists and experts who offer solutions to make our life better and make us happy, the administrators who really implement the policies that are formulated, the captains of industry who add to our wealth, and the doctors and others who take care of our health, and the Indian diaspora while I am on foreign visits. The main objective of connecting and communicating with these target groups was to share with them my experiences, my concerns, my world view and the way forward for building a new India, strong, stable, prosperous India.
The Vice President informed that Rajya Sabha clocked productivity of 78.42% during 2019, the best since 2010. He said the consistent high productivity during the last 3 sessions is a certain indication of winds of change. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said students and administrators will benefit a lot from this book. He said the greatest gift one generation can give to another is a good book. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Javadekar said it is a treasure trove for students who want to follow the speeches of the Vice President.
मैं तो कहूंगा कि सभी कॉलेज के छात्र या जिनको भी अच्छा भाषण सीखना है, अच्छा भाषण करना है, अच्छे संदर्भ जुटाना है, वो अगर केवल वेंकैया जी के भाषणों को फॉलो करेंगे तो भी वो कभी भाषण में पूरा विचार होता है, पूरी इमोशन होती है और उसके साथ साथ एक जिस तरह से भाषा का सीधा प्रवाह चलता है वो बहुत काबिले तारीफ है.
President Ramnath Kovind today complimented Vice President Venkaiah Naidu for completing 3 years in office. In a letter, Mr. Kovind said that Mr. Naidu has emerged as an inspiration for everyone as the Vice President. He said that as Rajya Sabha Chairman, Mr. Naidu set the record of conducting legislative business on an unprecedented scale. The President praised Mr. Naidu's profound understanding of law and the Constitution that enabled him to take a righteous approach in public service.
Former President Pranab Mukherjee continues to remain critical post-surgery and is on ventilatory support. He was admitted to the Army Hospital Research and Referral, Delhi Cantonment in a critical condition yesterday. The hospital sources revealed that he underwent emergency life-saving surgery for a large brain clot. He was also found to be COVID-19 positive. In Bihar, the flood situation continues to be grim in flood-affected areas of the state. The flood water has entered new areas of Siwan and Madhepura. Surging water of Gandak and Kosi spread out in fresh areas after the river continues flowing at above danger mark in their courses. Over 75 lakh people of 16 districts spread over 1,240 panchayats are reeling under the impact of flood. The flood situation is particularly serious in Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur and Saran districts. Floodwater has entered into houses in urban areas of Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur. In all, 24 people lost their lives and 66 animals were killed in flood-related accidents during the last 24 hours. Most of the people in affected areas were rendered homeless. Life in affected areas has been crippled as flooded people are forced to take shelter either on the embankments, national highways or other higher places. 33 teams of NDRF and SDRF are carrying out relief and rescue operations in affected areas. Over 5 lakh people have been evacuated so far. 1,20,000 affected people have taken shelter in relief camps. In all, 1,239 community kitchens have been set up for providing food to the affected people. About 10 lakh people are taking food through these kitchens. The state government has provided financial assistance of rupees 6,000 to each of the family of over 6,35,000 families.
Bringing relief to Kerala, the intensity of rain reduced in the state, but alert continues in hilly regions. A report.
The threat of extremely heavy rainfall in the state has subsided for now. Yellow alert is issued in Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod districts for today. Chief Minister said that the state will remain vigilant for a few more days, even though danger posed by the situation in general has come down. The water level in major rivers has reduced, and as water began to subside in low-lying regions, people started to return to home from relief camps in some regions. Meanwhile, 2 more dead bodies were recovered from the massive landslide hit Pettimudi near Rajamala in Idukki district, taking the death toll to 51. Search operations for the remaining missing persons are ongoing today in the 5th day after the tragedy struck. The unfortunate landslide hit the region early hours of last Friday, washing away the lines of settlements of tea plantation workers. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
In Uttarakhand, Badrinath, Kedarnath and Gangotri highways were blocked due to landslides following heavy rains in the state during the last 24 hours. 3 people were killed in rain-related incidents in the state. As per reports, rescue teams were deployed to clear the debris at various places. In Bageshwar National Highway connecting Kapkot subdivision from district headquarters has been damaged following heavy downpour. Dozens of link roads have also been blocked in Pauri, Tehri, Rudraprayag and Uttarkashi of Garhwal division as well as in Pithoragarh and some other places in Kumaon region. Meanwhile, the Met Department predicts that light to moderate rain with intense spell likely to occur at most places in Pithoragarh, Bageshwar, Nainital, Champawat, Pauri, Dehradun, Haridwar, Tehri, Rudraprayag and Uttarkashi districts and many places in Almora, Udham Singh Nagar and Chamoli districts of Uttarakhand.
In the run-up to the 74th Independence Day celebrations, we bring you today a special story about the several initiatives for urban development. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs is implementing several schemes in urban areas to improve facilities and better living for citizens. In the last 5 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government has launched various urban schemes including Smart Cities Mission, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation Amrut and Housing for All in urban areas. More from our correspondent.
Schemes like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, Amrut and the Smart Cities Mission are not only transforming the urban landscape of the country but also ensuring ease of living for the citizens. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana was launched in 2015 with an aim to provide housing for all in urban areas by year 2022. The scheme Amrut is being implemented with the objective of universal water supply, improvement in sewerage network and non-motorized urban transport. Launched in 2015, the Smart Cities Mission intends to strengthen urban infrastructure through application of smart solutions and provide a better quality of life to citizens. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
BJP President JP Nadda held a video conference today with Assam Chief Minister Sarvanand Sonowal and other office bearers of the state. Interacting with them, Mr. Nadda hoped that the new education policy would further boost the development of the country. He said that it would help the students in learning things in the mother tongues. Mr. Nadda appreciated the role played by the Assam government and the party in containing the spread of COVID-19 and flood situations. He said that the country as a whole did well in achieving the good COVID-19 recovery rate. In a significant development in the history of Ladakh Police, Ladakh Lieutenant Governor R.K. Mathur has unveiled the flag, formation sign and epaulets of the newly formed police force today. Formation of separate Ladakh Police notification came on 23rd of May this year. More from our correspondent.
At a ceremonial function by Ladakh Police, after unveiling the Ladakh Police flag and insignia, Mr. Mathur said that Ladakh Police soon would take up recruitment process and completing the promotions as well. He emphasized in infrastructure including forensic lab and cybercrime lab, modern policing facilities like satellite phones, training at best institutes and various welfare measures including housing and winter clothing at par with ITBP for the police in the toughest terrain. He suggested Ladakh Police to take up adventurous tours to Karakoram and Demchok rallies to show the strength and endurance of the police in the highest altitude Ladakh region. Mr. Mathur appealed the police to work with public in professional and friendly manner. In the inaugural speech, Ladakh Inspector General of assured the police will adopt citizen-centric approach.
आप हर एक लद्दाख पुलिस को बड़े गर्व के साथ लद्दाख पुलिस का बैच और लद्दाख पुलिस का फॉर्मेशन साइन पहनते हुए देखेंगे। जहाँ पे भी हमारे फ्लैग्स लगेंगे, लद्दाख ट्रेडिशन का, लद्दाख पुलिस का फ्लैग होगा। तो ये सिंबल इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट होते हैं क्योंकि इससे एक फोर्स को पहचान मिलती है।
The police logo with national emblem Ladakh Police along with the Satyameva Jayate surrounded by auspicious juniper leaves represents sacredness and Ladakhi tradition. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
Now let us take a look at today's weather update. National capital Delhi witnessed minimum temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperature is expected to be around 34 degrees Celsius with generally cloudy sky with light rain. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature recorded was 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 30 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature recorded was 26 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to go up to 34 degrees. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 27 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 33 degrees. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 22 degrees Celsius while the maximum will settle at around 29 degrees. Thiruvananthapuram will be generally cloudy with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 31. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews Corona situation with Chief Ministers of 10 states. Says working together, India can win the fight against COVID. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 70%. A record number of 15 crore people have downloaded the Arogya Setu app. Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Prakash Javadekar released the third series of collection of speeches by Vice President Venkaiah Naidu. And flood situation in Bihar continues to be grim. Over 75 lakh people in 16 districts affected. And for details of these stories and more, you can log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the Midday News.